Hello guys, this is Kevin. I hope you staying safe from COVID-19. After I uploaded some of the videos related with the Korean used cars, I got some of the messages from the buyers that they like to come to Korea for buying cars from my company. And also my buyers who had the business relationship with my company wanted to come to Korea, so they asked me the invitation letter. Unfortunately, the situation in Korea right now, it's not easy because of COVID-19. As you can see the data right now, about 2,000 people are infected by the COVID-19 every day. And because of that, the Korean government made some restriction for the people who are coming from outside to Korea. So today's video, I will explain you how to come to Korea and what is different from before COVID-19 and right now. To come to Korea, there are three methods that you have to choose. First one is exemption from quarantine. If you have some of visas and have the evidence, the paper, that you are not infected by COVID-19 and you got the vaccinated, either Pfizer, Moderna, AZ, or Chinese vaccine, then you don't have to be in quarantine stage. So let's see the visas that can give you the exemption. Even if you like to come to Korea, you have to have the validity that the Korean government can understand. There are 8 visas that give you the exemption from the quarantine. I will explain you step by step. The first visa is B-1 visa. If your country have the agreement with Korea, then you can get the B-1 visa. And if you have the B-1 visa, then you don't have to be in quarantine. But you have to submit the documents that you are not infected from COVID-19 in recently 2 weeks. And if you got the vaccine, then you can submit the documents as evidence. The second visa is B-2 visa. It's for touring. So if you want to visit Korea for touring, then the Korean government might give you the B-2 visa so that you don't have to be in quarantine too. But still, you need the documents that I mentioned before. And the third one is C-1 visa. The C-1 visa is for the people who have a job for reporting as a news. So people who have a job of reporters or working for the news company, then you can come to Korea without quarantine too. The next one is C-3 visa. It's for the visiting the short-term period. And if you have a plan for visiting Korea for a short time, then the Korean government might give you the C-3 visa. Next one is C-4 visa. It's for getting a job in Korea for a short time period. So the people who like to get a job in Korea, the Korean government might give the visa as C-4 visa. The next visa is D-7 visa. It is for the residential employee. For example, Samsung is Korean company. So the Korean people who are hired from Samsung go to the other countries and live there and work there, and we call them as a residential employee. So the workers who are working for, let's say, Amazon, and they have to work in Korea, then the Korean government might give you the D-7 visa. The next 2 visas are D-7 and D-8 visas. They are for trading and investment. So people who have the business for investing and trading for Korea, the Korean government might give you the D-7 or D-8 visa. It seems like if you want to come to Korea, then it might not be hard to get those of visas that I mentioned, but in reality, it is not get the visas that I mentioned. And if you fail to get those of visas, then you have to choose either self-quarantine or quarantine. The self-quarantine is for the Korean people and the foreigners who have a house in Korea. So they are the people who are living in Korea for a long time. And because they have their houses, they can be in quarantine in their houses. It is self-quarantine, so you can stay at home, but still you cannot go outside for 2 weeks. If you like to go to the coffee shops or restaurant, you cannot go for 2 weeks because you are in self-quarantine stage. If you don't keep stage, then the Korean government can give you the penalty as wearing the band, and the band has the tracking system. So wherever you go, the band can give information to the Korean government. The last one is quarantine stage. Most of the foreigners who are coming to Korea right now, they have to be in quarantine. And it is because, as I told you before, it is not easy to get the visas that I mentioned before. So when you got in quarantine, then you have to stay in isolated buildings that the Korean government provides you for 2 weeks. The problem is the cost. While you are staying in isolated building that the Korean government provides you, you have to pay for living. The Korean government will provide you the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and some of the snacks and the building house. So you have to pay $130 per day. And the quarantine period is 2 weeks. So when you multiply 130 by 14 days, then the total price is $18.20. It is written that the maximum cost is $18.20 for 2 weeks, which is the quarantine period. But $18.20 is not the small money for a business trip. And the point is, you have to stay in isolated buildings, so you cannot go outside for a business or for touring, neither. So when my buyers ask me the invitation letter, I have to explain these things. And because of the cost and the time that they have to spend, which is 2 weeks, make them hesitate a lot. If you're okay for spending 2 weeks and $18-20 for business with my company, then I'm really happy to help you. But still, the problem is there are the people who want to come to Korea for some other reasons rather than doing business with my company. So when the buyers want to come to Korea, my company policy is the buyers who would like to come to Korea for doing business with my company should send the deposit. The deposit will use for buying used cars, for doing business with my company. So if you have any questions, or if you're interested in doing business with my company and you'd like to come to Korea for that, then just let me know. Thank you for watching my video. And if there is some other issues related with COVID-19 in Korea, then I will upload another video. Thank you. Bye.